Good afternoon, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with some bad habits. Bye up, bye up. Before we get to the content of the day, let's get to the intro of the day. Welcome back to Gunners Collective TV. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. I appreciate all the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. So, there's been some new photos released of Kane Velasquez functioning on the prison yard. Okay, there's been a lot of people that want updates on Kane Velasquez. What is he doing? Is he all right? Is he in the hole? Is anyone messing with him? Has he had to fucking get someone in a jiu-jitsu hold yet or knock him out? I can tell you right now from the pictures that were put out there, he looks humbled and happy. He looks like he's doing his time like a person should. He looks like he has some good camaradas, some good homeboys around him. He's met some friends, and he's definitely on that yard doing his thing. And you know what stands out more than anything is it doesn't look like people are treating him differently because he's a celebrity or because he's an athlete. I thought at one point, people would kind of be fearing Cain, or there was also stories thrown out there that people were going to try to approach Cain or extort Cain or test his stamina. And I said from the gate, it's not going to be anything like that. Kane Velasquez is not going to function as a gang member. He's going to hang around with the raza because in prison, man, people kind of segregate themselves by ethnicity. Now he's on a yard that everyone that's on that yard, it's not a gang related yard. Everyone that's on that yard is programming. They're trying to program, go home, go about their business. So I'm going to show you some photos that were recently released. They were having a car show on the prison grounds. Is what they do in the California system. They have car shows, they have concerts, they have certain things every once in a while. It's to keep, it's to keep the people at peace, basically. It's to keep your spirits lifted. When people are functioning on that yard and doing the right thing, they have these types of programs that will come in. They have people that come in from church ministry to minister to people. There's a lot of things that they give as incentives to prisoners. Now, prison is still prison. At night, you're still going to lay your ass on that hard mattress in that concrete cell. But while you're out there on that yard having a car show, it's kind of like a taste of freedom. And I know a lot of lifers and people that are doing a lot of time look forward to these things because it makes them feel like they're outside of the walls. So without that being said, too much being said, let me show you some of the recent pictures that were released of Kane Velasquez on the prison yard. So let's take a look. So as you can tell by those photos, it looked like Kane Velasquez gained his ass a little bit of weight, right? But he looks in good spirits. His moral looks high. His spirit looks high. It doesn't look like he's involved in anything nefarious. It doesn't look like he's involved in any bad things. It looks like he's on that programming yard programming. Now, if you look close, you see some of the people there, and automatically people are quick to judge. Well, some of them look like they could be gang members. Some of them were perhaps gang members at one point in time. But to me, it looks like a whole bunch of dudes that are trying to go home, or they're trying to make peace with where they're at. And I think Kane Velasquez is doing the same thing. I think he's taking this time to reflect on, his life, to reflect on what's in front of him, and to end this nightmare, and he, like I said, he looks in good spirits. He looks happy. Now, I did talk to a homeboy that has a homeboy that's on that particular yard. And he told me that Kane Velasquez is treated extremely well by the COs. In fact, he's given star status, but he refuses to work like in the program office. He refuses to take those special jobs. He wants to be treated just like anyone else. Kane Velasquez is not functioning with the Northerners. He's not functioning with the Southerners because people that are on the yard that he's in, the integrated yards, are not considered Northerners and Southerners. The people that he associates with, they're just brown guys that were probably once gang members and that, chose a different path. Now, a lot of people would call them dropouts or degenerates or pieces of shit, because that's what people like to say. But until you've ever been on that yard and functioned at a high and extremely level, you get an understanding of what it is. Why people turn away from the gangs, why people choose to just go home. There's those that are high powered, these little gangsters that want to make the sacrifice until you figure out that there's repercussions for that sacrifice, right? Everybody always wants to stab everybody, but they don't want to get stabbed. You ever notice that? Anyways, when it comes to Kane Velasquez, it looks like he's doing well. Now, as far as his weight, it looks like he has gained weight. So he's probably not doing, an extreme workout. He's probably taking this as an opportunity to feed his mind, feed himself, and rest and relax. We're talking about someone who's worked for years from the collegiate level to all the way to now he's in prison. He's just consistently worked, fought in the UFC, wrestled in college, trained in the gym consistently. You would think that this would be a time to really relax your body and say, you know what, I'm not going to go in as hard of the paint as I've always went. I'm going to kind of just chill, stay aware of my surroundings and do my thing. To me, it looks like Cain is a mellow fellow, right? One of those dudes on the yard that just gets along with everyone's peaceful, but behind them motherfucking eyes, not to play with them. Now, nobody wants to play with Kane Velasquez. And ain't no one going to try to play with Kane Velasquez because Kane Velasquez don't play. Obviously, because of the crime that he's in for, he's a hero. He's a hero. There's not one person on that yard that wants to test him anyways. But besides that, the crime that he's in for, even though an innocent man was shot, man, and the other guy still has a trial that's actually coming up on the 3rd here. And I will be trying to keep you guys updated on the trial of Harry Galarte, the one that's accused of doing inappropriate stuff with Kane's son, right? It's the whole reason Kane's locked up. I think Cain is going to do quite well. I don't think there will be any issues. And I think, the people that were quick and that's just people. They just, they love drama. Hey, he's a Norteño. Hey, he grew up in Salinas. Hey, he was in PC. Hey, he was in this. He was in that. None of that really matters. Cain was a civilian that unfortunately went through a traumatizing situation with his family and found himself on the other end of a gun, the butt side, the right side, right? And took vigilante matters into his own hands. He shouldn't have. He broke the law. And like a man, he lifted his chin high in the air and is willing to take it. These pictures, man, I'm going to show them one more time. They look like Kane Velasquez is just doing what a man's supposed to do, is do your time. I was told by my tios back in the days, I ain't going to lie, with the first time I knew I was going to prison, I was a little shook up. I was a little apprehensive, a little scared, right? I didn't know what I was in store for. Of course, going to the youth authority helped me to give me an understanding of how to do time, how to get my mind and my body conditioned for time, and the disparity, the loneliness, all that. But you truly never know what that yard brings or how crazy it can get unless it gets crazy. So, with prison, one thing you got to understand is there's a lot of different men with a lot of different mentalities, a lot of different DNA, a lot of different makeup, a lot of different thoughts, and a lot of different emotions and feelings. So one day someone could wake up on the wrong side of the bunk and get to stabbing someone. One day a man could feel disrespected and you could end up on your back screaming for help like Tory Lanez. One day you can get put in the wrong man's cell and he don't think you're a man at all. He thinks you're a woman. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of different mentalities and a lot of different things going on. But it seems to me that Kane Velasquez is extremely in a good situation. They sent him to a yard. I don't think there's an issue that's going to happen to him. Of course, not because he has hands and who he is, but because he's one of those type of people that the old school prisons were built for. Guys that mind their own, the men's men, tough men that go in there, know how to fucking do time. I could look at Cain, and it's crazy because I've seen guys that have been in the mix 20, 30 years, gang banging, fucking slamming, drinking, partying, hoes, low riders, all that. And then they get in prison and don't know how to do no fucking time around other men of like-mindedness. They don't know, right? And then you get a fucking civilian, someone who's been on the streets, who's never been involved in the criminal lifestyle, and they know how to fucking do time. They know how to keep to themselves. They know how to better themselves while they're in there because there's plenty of opportunity. A lot of people get out of prison. Oh, man, it was just killing and stabbing. Well, that's because you're drama, homie, and you're all in the mix. If you go in there, take you some college courses, hit them books, work out, take care of your mind, body, stay off the drugs, stay out the fucking pruno, stay out the tier, stay out of just messing up, stay out the gang mix. And guess what, homie? You're good. Now, of course, you're going to have to align yourself with your people. If you're from Southern California, you're going to ride with your people. If you're from Northern California, you're going to fuck with the gente. And certain situations might come up where you have to raise your hand. But for the most part, if you're just doing your time like it seems Kane Velasquez is doing his time, then everything's going to see all right, cuz. Anyways, I just wanted to throw this quick video out there to show an update on what Kane Velasquez is looking like now. These pictures were put out there. And this is Kane, man. So let me show you this real quick. Obviously, you see that's Cain, man. You see all the guys in the background. They're doing a car show. And you don't see a whole bunch of people staring. It just looks like they're just doing their own thing. He's just another man on that yard, man, kicking back amongst a couple friends, couple people that wanted to take pictures with them. And then right here, you see him. He's with the lowrider people that came in and volunteered. Man, he looks like he got a little crew with them, just doing his thing. Anyways, with all that being said, just a quick one to throw out there. Kane Velasquez is doing well. There's your update with Kane. Kane will be out probably about the end of November, December. And I'm sure he wants to put all these memories behind him and just continue forward. They say God puts you in a place in your life for a reason. And maybe prison was something that Kane needed. Maybe he's going to make some connections there. Maybe he's going to make some forever friends. Maybe something else was happening in Kane's life and it was spinning out of control and he got pushed over the edge with this one incident. And maybe he needed to sit down and reflect a little bit. In either case, man, it's God's plan, right? Drake said it. He also said a lot of other weird shit, but it is God's plan. So hopefully Kane continues to do what he's doing. He looks well, and we all continue on too. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heaven's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly and honestly believe in. That's the betterment of all people. Free Kane, right? Free Kane. Or fuck, leave his ass in there. He looks better in there than he does out here. The gun.